good evening to everyone. I think there might be some people in different time zone, so there might be somebody in good afternoon. So I would say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So before I get started, I wanted to tell a little bit of my experience, what I had a few months back. So actually, I was working on one of my Go project, and as a developer, you always have a tight deadline, and we actually had to get this released. We had a very small sprint of 2 weeks, and I was trying to get my build done so that I can be QA, so it can be tested. My build failed on me, saying that the pseudo versions are invalid, and I was like, there was nothing that I changed in my dependencies. Why would it say pseudo version is invalid? And then I thought maybe the module or the dependency has been removed from the version control system. Let me check if I have my Go proxy set up. So I checked my Go environment variable. I saw my proxy was not set up. It was direct, pulling from source, and I have this dependency actually already processed in my Go proxy. So I set up my proxy. I know that I will be good. So I did the build again, and it again failed on me. But this time it was giving me like different error, which is like, check some go some db doesn't found this module. So I was like, why it is going to go some db? So then I realized that actually I have moved it to Go 113, which was latest at that time. And I thought maybe that was the reason something might have come in Go 113 that is not compatible with this Go project of mine. And I switched it back to Go 112 because I didn't have time to research on it. And I keep moving. But the questions that popped up in my mind that, what was those different kind of errors, different with proxy, and when your proxy is not set up, and what are all those kind of things. So this talk is motivated from one of my experience that I had it earlier. Little bit background about myself. My name is Mitali Bisht. I'm working as a software engineer at Jfrog, and I'm one of the developer of Gocenter. .io. I mean, Gocenter is one of the central repository of Go modules, which has a rich UI. You can always go and check it out. I'm a Gopher. I have developed in different languages too, but I'm doing Go language development as of now. I'm also working in Gocenter for different features where we can help community to see the modules metadata to have them more informed. So before going further, for you guys to cheer you up from this COVID situation, we are giving away one of 3 Gopher t-shirts. So if you have your mobile phone in front of you, you can just scan this code, and we'll be in the raffle, and we will mail all those t-shirts to you. I will also be doing this at the end of the presentation. So this is for you guys. This is a very, very nice, cool t-shirt. Okay. So let's go next. So by the end of this talk, what you can expect is knowing about pseudo-versions, what stricter rules that have been enforced in Go 113, about pseudo-versions that can actually stop you to move your module from 112 and later, how to, and little bit about what has come in Go 114 and what is coming in Go 115 for the modules. So before going to the pseudo version thing, let's talk about what is Go module. And Go module is actually a set of Go packages that are stored in a tree file, which is nested under the root of the directory, which is go.mod file. And this is the structure of go.mod file, where you will have first the module path and the Go version, whatever you are using. And then it will have a required directive. So what is that required directive? It's actually all your dependencies, which with the module name, along with the versions. So, I mean, starting Go 113, module support has been enabled by default. So I think it's a good time if you have not moved to, Go module. Go has adapted module as the, default dependency management. So you can see here, like there are different kind of versions, placed in a different format. So let's see what are all those things. So the first three versions, like version 0.3.1, these are actually the release versions in the form of semantic format. So Go actually prefers to have release versions, and in the form of semantic format, and module versions can be released by tagging a version underlying your source repo. So the first here are three components of the version. The first one is the major X, the second one is the minor, and the third one is the patch. So if I take an example of v 0.3.1, all the components changes based on your API. So if there is no backward compatible changes, your first major version change. If there's a change, there is a compatible backend API changes, then you change your minor version. And if there are any bug fixes for your minor version, then you change your patch version, which is the last one. You can always have pre-release version 2 by specifying a hyphen at the end of your patch version, and have any string. It can be like it is RC9 here. It can be alpha 1, beta 1, etc. And the last weird long ones that you are seeing in your mod file are actually called as pseudo versions. And these are the versions that I'm going to talk about next. So what are pseudo versions? Those are actually the untagged revisions, which are not being tagged. So sometimes we have to be dependent on a project that has not published any of the semver tags, or we have to develop against a commit which has not been tagged there. So what do we do? In those cases, we actually use pseudo versions. So pseudo version, the format of pseudo version is pretty lengthy, and technically, I would say as a best practice, we shouldn't be editing pseudo version by our hand, as Go command take care of it. You just have to supply the commit hash, and Go command will convert it into a pseudo version. So the first component of the pseudo version is the most recent tagged version in the commit graph before this commit, followed by the timestamp, which is the commit time in UTC. And the last one is the prefix of commit hash generated by the underlying version control system. So, as I will again say that we don't have to write this whole big version, as Go command take care of it, which is an example of module query. And if you do it, like there are some third-party tools that actually generate the pseudo versions, or people just edit by hand and change the version, change the timestamp. So what is wrong in that practice? So first one, pseudo version also participates in minimal version selection. What does that mean? That means that if you have a major version, and if you try to change it, then pseudo version might appear to have higher precedence than the ones that follows it, and ultimately it will pin that particular version to in your mod file, which is actually incorrect, because you have a higher precedence of module versions in your commit graph. The second one is the date. The date part of the pseudo version actually sort the whole series of pseudo version. So if we change the version, obviously it will mess up the ordering part of the pseudo versions. So Go has realized all these problems, and eventually they have to enforce the rules to restrict this, so that we can have a good version semantic version things in our release. So that is what I'm going to tell, that what was the difference before Go 113. If you put any combination of version prefix, version string, and timestamp, what Go used to do, it used to resolve it to the latest for that commit hash, until or unless that commit hash existed in that commit graph. So here, if you see, I have requested for a module says, and with a given timestamp ending with 1023, which this one actually doesn't exist. So what Go did, it actually resolved it to the latest and put that particular which I asked for in my go.mod file. But starting from Go 113, if you try to fetch a pseudo version which has a wrong timestamp or version prefix or commit hash, you will get this error saying invalid pseudo version at the timestamp doesn't match your version control timestamp. So this is the error that I actually got when I was telling you this story. And it actually pissed me off that why would Go do suddenly to break my module, and I really have to get this on. So let's talk about what are the validation that has been enforced in Go 113. So for all of the components of the pseudo version validation versions, there are some things. So for example, the first part, the major version prefix that should be generated from the one of its major version or one of its ancestors from which pseudo versions have derived. The commit time should be matched whatever is there in the version whatever has been generated by the version control timestamp, and the commit hash should be the prefix of the commit hash should match whatever has been generated by the Go client. There are also other rules on the plus incompatible suffix. So if you have any pseudo version which has incompatible suffix at the end, that can only be allowed if it is required by the major version and you don't have any Golang mod file. Also, last but not the least is the checksum server validation. I mean, in Go 113, a new thing has been introduced is about GoSumDB. So alongside of your go.mod file, you will also see go.sum file in your root directory, which has cryptographic hashes of your module versions, of all your module versions. And that is actually stored in a checksum server. So whenever you request a go-get or go.mod download, it actually go to the server and validate whatever you have in your go.mod file is actually matches the one which we have in the server. And then it will allow you, otherwise it will not. So that checksum server also enforces all these pseudo version validations. So if it doesn't matches, it will say, I don't find this module or this has been tampered. So that's how they are maintaining that the module is not being tampered. So how do we fix the incorrect pseudo versions? So we have two things on our mod file. We have direct dependencies, and we also have transitive dependencies. So for direct dependencies, what we can do in our require directive, instead of putting the whole pseudo version, we just have to put the commit hash part and run the go command, either go get or go mod tidy. So Go will ultimately resolve it to the correct pseudo version corresponding to that commit hash and put it in your mod file. So for each commit hash, there will be one associated pseudo version. What about the transitive dependencies? And we cannot go for the transitive dependencies to change the goal or file. So we can use the basis segment in our goal instead of putting with the same rule, instead of putting the whole pseudo version, we will be putting only the commit hash part and it will actually replace it. But we do have to keep in mind that this will not replace the pseudo version part, and the incorrect pseudo version will still be playing part in minimal version selection. So how Gocenter as a Go proxy can help? In Gocenter, we always try to see that if commit is facing any problem, we try to solve it. And we have seen this problem when Go 113 was released, and we have made the fixes for that in Gocenter. So if you have been using Gocenter as a proxy, or you might want to use, then what are the changes that you can actually see and how it can help you to seamlessly go to Go 113. Gocenter actually changes the metadata in the .info file. So whenever you request for a module download for incorrect pseudo version, it actually changes it to the one which is correct and send it in the .info file, and that's how it corrects it to the correct pseudo version. So I want to show the difference between before Go 112 and Go 113. So before Go 113, if you set your Go proxy as gocenter.io, If you ask for a revision, ask for a pseudo version which is not correct, Gocenter will, as I said, change into .info and correct it and put the correct pseudo version in your .mod file. This change will be completely transparent to the user, and you can actually see that it has been replaced with correctly. While for Go 113 and above, you will get, if you ask for incorrect pseudo version, you will get an information or error saying that proxy wants to return this particular pseudo version, which is actually the correct one. And if you want Gocenter to update in go.mod file, you just have to change your go command from go get to the whole pseudo version to just the commit hash part. So here I did go get for sys. I just put the commit hash, and what it did, it actually put the correct pseudo version in my mod file. So that's how we can have Go proxy. Gocenter can help us. Now let's see what is coming in Go. Go 114 has been released in March. Now we know that how we can move to Go 113 easily, and how we can use the features of Go 114. So Go 114 now allows a new, Go get allows a new flag, which is mod file. So you can put your mod file anywhere. You don't have to use the one which is in go.mod, and you can just give the directory path, and it will actually read from there. But do remember, we do need to have a go.mod file in our root directory in order to specify that is the root. Go get mod read only will, this particular flag of mod go get will not allow you to set. Before, what it used to do, it either used to ignore, or it used to end up in an error and pollute your go.mod file when you are saying I just want to read only that particular module. The third one is go get will not upgrade to an incompatible major version until it is explicitly required by that particular major version. Fourth one is very interesting. Now you can see the plain error text messages from your module proxies or any other HTTP servers unless they are UTF-8 encoded, and they can have some graphic characters and spaces. And last but not the least, now Go support SVN repositories in module support, which is actually a very good thing. Go 115 is releasing in August, and Go actually follows the 6-month cycle. And it is not going to be a big release in terms for the users for new features, but you can always go and check it out in what are the proposals for that. Many of them have been merged, but many of the changes are the backplane changes. So that's all about from moving from Go 112 to 114. I'm going to post my slides on Twitter. I'm available on Go for Slack, on Gocenter channel. I have also, in there in Poland channel too. And this is the barcode again for the t-shirt raffle. So do scan it and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you, guys.